Hi everyone. So basically, what I'm going to do is chat a little bit about what I do, chat a little bit about what Elena does or did whilst on the course, a little bit about Diya, and then Leon. Maybe not in that order, but I'll just go through really who Northcoders are before we sort of get stuck into that. And there's probably a few people waiting to come along. So yeah, Northcoders came about really in about 5 years ago now. And really the whole sort of premise was it that the tech industry, especially in the north, like Manchester, Leeds, sort of surrounding cities and areas, there was a lot of companies that needed sort of tech support, tech teams, software developers basically. And there just wasn't that bridge between people who needed them and that skilled sort of workforce there to go for it. And on the other hand of that, we also had a lot of people that weren't happy with their current jobs, wanted that hard skill, wanted a bit of training, and wanted to go into the tech industry, but they didn't want to go to careers at university. So we sort of became the bridge between people who need the training, people who want to change their lives, get into a new job, and people on the other end, companies on the other end, who just didn't have that workforce and that labour there to get it. So we've got in the middle of it, train these people up, and now, continually sort of get people into jobs in software development with these companies that, sometimes we've had connections with them for years now. So yeah, just a little bit about sort of who Northcoders are, what sort of people we take on. Usually beginners, which I'll come on to a bit later on anyway. But we've taken people that sometimes coded before as well, and anything in between. If you want to change your life basically and you want to get into tech, you're in a good place for it. So a little bit about what I do, and then yeah, we'll just really pass sort of the mic along one by one. So what I do at Northcoders is I onboard people onto the course from before they join. So the way it works is when you first apply for the course, we would send out some materials to you. So if you've not coded before, these are really good times to get stuck in, get a good feel for them, and see if coding is right for you more than anything else. So you apply. We send out some materials that take about three weeks to work through, and they will really, really build you up from those absolute basics. They are so approachable for people that haven't coded before, or people that maybe haven't taught and learned in our language. And basically what happens is you work through these materials with my assistants and a girl named Bethan. We're both there to sort of help you out. So you've really got that support getting into code right from the beginning. And we get you to a point where you're sort of ready for our entry challenge, which I'll come on to after sort of walking through the process a bit more. So you get these materials, you start working through them. I'm just going to say right away, some people it's not right for them, and some people absolutely love them. And either way is fine. If you get these materials and you decide you don't want to continue anymore, or if you get these materials and you absolutely love them, that is the whole point of the application process, to decide if it's right for you. So at the stage of applying, you've not committed any time. There's no money involved in applying. So really, even if you're not sure if coding is right for you, you'll never know really until you try. And there's no harm sort of applying and getting those materials and seeing if you do like them or not, because they're a great chance to sort of get into it. So you work through the materials, and as long as you've been enjoying them, you've been liking them, you then go on to sort of the next stage on the application process, which is doing an entry challenge. Now, I know an entry challenge might seem pretty nerve-wracking for some people. That sort of anxiety-inducing test environment isn't the nicest of things, but we do try to make it as sort of informal and relaxed as possible. So if you need like one of the tutors there to support you, you can use Google in your own notes. The whole point of that entry challenge isn't to sort of scare you off, isn't to be like elitist. The point of the entry challenge is to make sure that the course is right for you. So everything that you're doing in the application process and in terms of the entry challenge is all for your benefit, to see, if this is definitely something that you want to do, if you're going to be able to keep up with the pace of the course. The entry challenge itself is an hour long, and there's 7 challenges on there. Now, challenge, if you've not coded before, might seem a bit new to you, but basically all it is it will say, using your previous knowledge and, the coding you've been doing over the past 3 weeks, just answer a series of challenges or questions. It's really, really not as hard as, you're probably expecting it to be. It's straightforward. There's no like trick questions or anything, basically. So yeah, that's basically, the dumbed down, straightforward version of the application process. And it really is that simple. Work through some materials with my support and a girl named Bethan's support, and then do an entry challenge based off that support. So all good stuff, It's fine. Now, in terms of start dates and stuff like that, the next start date is August 9th. And after that is September 13th. So on August 9th, you can join us in Manchester, Leeds, or remotely, or a mix of, however you want to mix that up. If you want to come in 1 day a week, if you want to work from home 4 days a week, if you want to come in 5 days a week, you can be as flexible with sort of that working remotely and coming in as you like. And then in September, some good news is we're opening Birmingham as well. So I'm not sure if there's anyone from this course sort of closer to that campus than here, but if it is sort of what, if you wanted to do that on-site learning and you aren't in the north, we are branching out a bit. I mean, I guess it's the Midlands now, so I don't know if it is still Northcoders, but that's what we're going for the time being anyway. Now, in terms of August 9th and sort of deadlines and stuff for that, you need to complete an entry challenge at least a week before, so the Monday before August 9th, which is August 2nd. But some of the payment options, so there's payment options such as a deferred payments option, an advanced discount payment option. If you want sort of one of those ones, they have a deadline of 2 weeks beforehand. So just bear in mind that brings you to sort of the 25th of July, 26th of July. So I always say this anyway, whatever start date you're thinking of joining, just apply like now and just get the application process over with, because otherwise you might leave it too late and sort of miss that opportunity. So I would say if you're thinking of applying, there's no commitment, just do it basically. Okay, I'll come on to questions about sort of, onboarding and the application process, but also everyone else's little bits at the end. So we'll just go through everyone and then we can chat about any questions that you've got as well. So you should have a comments button. We'll go through questions at the end there. Okay, so next I'll go to Elena. So Elena is a past student who I onboarded. It wasn't too long ago. It was about January 25th.
I think I did the test around October.
Yeah, nice. And then
I started in January.
Cool. Yeah, just chat a little bit about sort of your experience and sort of what you're doing now, really.
Sure. So yeah, like I said, I started at the end of January. So the bootcamp ran for me in February, March, and April. 3 very intense months, but really fun, and I miss it. I now work as a junior software developer at D55, which is a development organization company based in Manchester that does mostly software in the cloud for mostly energy and renewable energy companies. So yeah, I mean, it's been definitely a journey. Just to say, for example, to echo what Maddison has said, I really hadn't touched any code until the end of September last year. And to think that now I'm a developer and I, code for a job, it's incredible. I think, and it's not, I don't think it just, I'm not great. I'm not particularly good. I just think that the preparation that Northcoder gives you is really great. And I think that those 3 months are absolutely worth it. And I think also the preparation that you do before with the materials that Maddison has mentioned. But yeah, so basically I'm a software developer now. I can't even say it. Yeah, I've been working in the industry since mid-May.
Nice. So you did the course entirely remotely, didn't you? How did you sort of find that compared to, I don't know if you've been doing your job remotely at the moment and working on site, but how did the course working remotely prepare you for sort of working remotely in your role now, if that makes sense?
Yeah, of course. Well, I did it, in the height of lockdown. So dark months, and we were all kind of studying all day. And I have to say, I was a bit scared at the beginning because obviously I value, like many other people, the human contact and meeting other fellow students, etc. But I really found that there were a lot of positives, apart from the obvious elements of not having to physically go to the venue, etc. I think there was also an element of, because the lectures were all on Zoom, I felt like the level was a little bit more balanced for everybody, and people felt more comfortable asking questions than I couldn't. I suppose I could have imagined a situation in person where some people, some personalities that are a bit more shy might hold back, etc. Whereas I think because we were online and we were all using the chat, I felt like everybody was kind of asking questions and at the same level. And also the tutors were incredibly prepared to actually manage all the flow of questions and requests coming all of the time. It really felt like you weren't kind of left to your own devices at any point. We could ask for what we call MC help, and it was really good. And in terms of the how it prepared me to now, of course, I mean, at the moment we're all working remotely, and who knows when we're gonna finish. And so I think the fact that you're like, as soon as you start working, you're logging in, and you kind of know those kind of habits and attitudes. The fact that we did all the final project online, and so we kind of adopted some of the agile practices that actually are adopted in the workplace online. Definitely helped, because I kind of was able to already practice, using tools like Trello. It's Jira now, but they're basically the same. And doing the stand-up, but everything online. That was definitely a great preparation. But I would say that the doing it online didn't take anything away from my experience from doing it in person, apart from, of course, meeting in person the other students, which I've been able to do that after the course, and it's been great. And we hung out, and it's really lovely.
It's nice to see you've been able to sort of make those friendships and that community, even if you weren't like sort of on site with them to do so, because it definitely must be harder. But yeah, it's really nice you've been able to do that, and you do meet up with them, because I know when we we're back on site now, and when we used to be on site, there'd be a lot of like community and people going out on Friday and stuff like that. So it's good to see, even though it's not remote anymore, whilst that's still going on. Thanks very much, Elena. So next, I'll go to Diya. So Diya works on sort of the partnership side of things, which is people like when we're looking for people for companies to get people into work for. Diya sort of want to speaking to businesses and getting them on board, and helping you into a career, basically. So yeah, thank you. If you could go ahead, Diya.
Yeah, hi, Pete. So yeah, I'm Diya. I, like Maddie said, I work on the partnerships team. So our team consists of a group of people that will contact hiring partners across Leeds, across Manchester, now Birmingham, and actually quite a lot of other places, because we're actually able to do remote work. We can actually access a hiring partner anywhere. And what we do is we build a relationship with them. We discuss with them how it would suit them to take on a Northcoder, especially for companies that are looking for software developers, junior roles. They're really open to taking on people from Northcoders, because as Maddie explained before, our entry challenge, we have a lot of applicants that flood in, but we don't just take on just anyone. So the people that are trained up to a really good level. A lot of the hiring partners are really shocked at how much coding that you do learn whilst you're on the course. So a lot of them are really excited to work with us and help get the graduates, basically, once you finish the course. We actually help you get into work as well. So we don't want to just educate you and be like, see you later, bye. We try and help you as much as possible. And by doing that, we build the relationships with the hiring partners. And what they do is they advertise their jobs internally with us. So we have like a private job board where towards the end of your course, you can start applying to those roles and interviewing with our hiring partners to find, you know, the right position for yourself. We also invite them in for hiring partner pitches, so where we get them in, and it can either be like on a Zoom, so they'll come in and they'll talk to you about the company as well, because there is so many different types of companies. Obviously with coding you can pretty much go into anything, so there's a massive variation of different kinds of companies. So they will come in, they'll explain what they do, and answer questions for you way before you even apply for their jobs, just to give you an insight of what it would be like working with them, and what their company is about, and, you know, their values and stuff, to see if it connects with what you're looking for. And yeah, so we work with loads of different companies across, like I said, Leeds, Manchester. I'm based in a Manchester office, so across Greater Manchester and Lancashire, I'll work with all of the employers to help you. We also help you with recruitment practice as well. So building your CV, making sure that your CV is up to date. We understand that some people may never have had an interview before. Someone may have never built a CV before. So we support you with that as well, support you with prep you for the interviews, the kind of questions that you should be asking, the questions that they'll be asking you, just to prepare you fully to make sure that you do secure the role that you are looking for. That's pretty much it from my side, what we do. And then we do matchmaking events as well. So, you know, if you have finished your course and you've graduated, we will have opportunities where we invite hiring partners in, and it's almost like speed dating. I want to say speed dating, but it's not dating, obviously. It's like speed interviewing, where you'll sit with each hiring partner for a couple of minutes and have really quick interviews. It's just a really nice way of getting used to interviews, getting used to the kind of questions that you'll be asked, and a way of securing a position face to face and really, really quickly. You can showcase the projects that you've worked on previously. It's just a really good way to get you into the community, where we keep inviting you back.
Thank you very much. Have you got any good tips then? Like, what would be like your best tip to sort of helping get employed after the course?
Helping the employer to the course.
So helping get a job, basically. What's your best tip to someone trying to look for work?
So I would always suggest in completely checking the job boards every day, because there are new jobs that are being posted all the time, and making sure, I know this sounds so silly, but making sure that you read the job advert correctly, because we have people that, you know, naturally, as soon as you finish, we all have this panic, don't we, once we're doing something that we want to get into a role, and people just apply for anything. So sometimes I have people in Manchester applying for Birmingham, and I'm like, do you know that it's in Birmingham? Do you know it's not Manchester? So read through it all and just be confident in your work, with the skills that you've got. They already know that you've got the skills, so it's just about understanding and finding the right company that suits you.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Diya. Okay. And then last up is Liam, who is part of the teaching team at Northcoders. So if you did join us, you're going to run into him at some point or other.
Cool. So yeah, hello everybody. As Maddison said, I am a member of the teaching team. Also, apologies, I am looking at the people on my screen. It's just on my second monitor at the time being, so in case that looks why I'm looking a slightly wayward direction. But yeah, so I'm a member of the teaching team. One of the first times you might come across me if you were going on the journey of joining Northcoders would be either one of the drop-in sessions or your entry challenge. So that's the first thing that you might see me on. I might be helping you through that process, giving you some feedback at the end, that sort of thing. But the vast majority of what I do is in those 3 months. In the period of the 3 months where we teach you the full scope of knowledge that you need to progress to the point that that Elena recently got to, where you are then sufficiently knowledgeable to move into the world of software development. So what that comprises of is like a typical day. You know, I begin with doing some, we share the lecturing responsibilities throughout the entire teaching team. Sometimes I'll do a lecture in the morning. The lecture will last between an hour and a half, 2 hours usually. And then throughout the rest of the day, we'll be constantly offering you support in the form of, we have a help desk system here where if you're ever stuck on something or you just want a hand, want a clarification for something, make sure you're going in the right direction, you can ask us for help. And otherwise, we will also be trying to be as vigilant as possible with regards to checking in on you, making sure if someone hasn't been seen for a little while that they get the support that they need and that they are comfortable with what they're doing. I know sometimes it can be a little bit daunting asking for help and things like that, so we do try to also make sure that people are checked in on whenever needs be. So yeah, it's a lot of kind of one-on-one, but also one-on-two, because we do a thing. We do a thing here at Northcoders, which is also widely practiced in the industry, called pair programming. So often you will be in twos throughout the day. So it might be one tutor to two students, but nonetheless, that kind of close contact help, which we are there for you, is a huge portion of what I do throughout the duration of the course. So that's through the 4 blocks that we have, the fundamentals, the back end, front end, and in the project phase as well. And yeah, then hopefully I'll get the pleasure of seeing lots of wonderful people graduate and seeing the wonderful things they create at the end, which is always a nice bit of my job, to see how far people have come. But yeah, that's pretty much a roundabout summary of what I do. So
thank you very much, Diya. So yeah, a little behind the scenes person has just put that comment. So if you do have any questions now, yeah, more than happy to go through them on here. I don't actually, so this is a new platform that we've been working with, so I don't actually know how it works entirely, but I'm pretty sure you just put your comment in and we can select them from there. It doesn't seem to be any though, which is completely fine. Sometimes, you know, we do an amazing job of sort of answering them from there. Liam, is this a good one for you? I wouldn't know it myself. I know we teach React on the course, but it's not part of the prep work beforehand anyway.
Sure. I mean, there's a slight cop-out answer to this, which is to say that I wouldn't really encourage you to learn React Native before you have a really good grasp of the fundamentals of JavaScript, which is what we spend 4 weeks on in the start of the course. The reason that we do that at the very beginning, with the combination of, we have a week called Intro Week, followed by 3 weeks called Fundamentals, is because learning something like React Native, which is a front-end framework, is a very, very daunting task if you don't have that prior knowledge as well. So we do teach something like Maddison stated, called React on the course, which bears similarities to something called React Native, but it is something that can be very difficult to do if you don't have that grounding. So if you are really looking to resources to learn React Native, the documentation, the baseline documentation for React Native is very, very good, and in general will serve you well in guiding that, and it will also lead you to learning React beforehand. But that's what I would encourage you to do. If you were really so keen as to do that, you'd have to learn the foundations of React in order to learn React Native. But so much of that is a large portion of what we do actually cover on the course, and for good reason, because it is quite complex, that I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to dive right in and start there, to be honest.
Thank you very much, Liam. Yeah, there is a difference between React and React Native. I just didn't notice it then. This is probably another one for you, to be fair, and this maybe what we're covering on the course. Yeah, I don't know much about any of these, so please do take it away, Liam.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the short answer is that we do both. The majority of what we will see is functional programming. Functional programming is where JavaScript really shines. JavaScript is a language that we do learn throughout the duration of the course, and it's a language that we focus on in back-end and front-end. And functional programming is what I would probably say most people use JavaScript for. We do look into OOP, and we do see some applications of that. But generally, as a kind of overview of software development, if you're going to do OOP, most people would look to use a different language hence why we don't focus on it in JavaScript. But we do recognize that it is also an important paradigm with important principles as well. So we do teach it, yeah, absolutely. But the focus is more on the former, the functional stuff.
Thank you again. Okay, next one's for me. Do you have a payment option where people do the course, then pay as they work after finishing the course? I'm going to read them out just in case, you know, just in case. But I was wondering, just in case anyone's wondering why I'm reading them out. So we do a deferred payments option. Repayments actually start. They don't start if you're working or not. They start either way. So basically, what would happen is you make an introduction week fee, which is $9.50. So standard for if you're paying the full fee or not. And then what happens is each month after that, so after you start the course, the month after you start the course, you make repayments of £250 each month. That is regardless of if you're in work or not, but there's no interest attached to that. So it is a really accessible option for people who otherwise can't make the upfront payment of the course, and if they need to spread the cost out, there's no interest attached to that or anything like that. So it's a good option to have. And if you go to the website and then go on courses, the bottom button after hovering over courses, say it has payment options there. So you can read a bit more about that option and a few more too. Cool. Don't seem to have any more questions at the moment. I mean, if you do have any more, you are more than welcome to sort of throw them in there. Or if you're sort of sitting and you can't think of any at the minute, it needs more time, stuff like that. If you can always email Maddison@northcoders.com or hello@northcoders.com. Basically, you can just send an email to me, and I can send the question over to one of these guys, or I can answer it myself. But yeah, I don't think there's actually any more questions today. So if you do think of any more, you're more than welcome to drop them in an email, throw them over to me, and more than happy to go through them. Otherwise, thank you very much, Elena, Diya, and Liam. And yeah, have a good evening, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.